Hey there, good people of the internet, it's that time of the year again. Time to talk about some of the best we have seen in gaming this year, and oh my god, what a year it has been. Now this top 10 list is all about indie games. There's a very specific reason for that. If I put together a normal top 10, like 8 out of 10 of those games would be indie titles, and normies would rise a storm in the comments because Final Fantasy VII Rebirth would not make it into that list. And also, the more indie games that receive the limited spotlight I can give, the better. The indie game quality of this year has been unbelievable. There won't be any spoilers in the video, so don't worry. But if you don't want to know anything at all about certain games, just look out for the title card for each position in the top 10 and skip to the next one if you want. Timestamps in the video description, gamers. With that out of the way, let's get right into the top 10 games of 2024, the indie game edition. First things first, we have to acknowledge that the time we have on this mortal plane is short. I have not played all indie games that have come out this year. That would be a bit psychotic anyway. Here's a list of the games I wanted to but did not find time to play, just so you know which games couldn't be rated and make it into the top 10. If your favorite game of the year is in here, you can always imagine that if I played it, it would rate highly, okay? Here we go. Hades 2, Momodora Moonlit Farewell and Talos Principle 2 all are sequels to games I want to play, and it would feel weird to skip the first part, so. Web fishing seems super chill, but I don't think it's the type of game I would personally enjoy much. I did give Fallout London a spin and it kept crashing and crashing, so I gave up on that. Neva is probably the highest regarded indie game I have not played from 2024. I don't know why, I just kept putting it off until I ran out of time. I know a lot of people love Nine Souls, but I bounced off it pretty badly after a couple of hours of play, so it's also absent from this list. And here's the rest of the indie games I did not play but wanted to in 2024. What a stacked year! Gaming might not be dead just yet. Let's move on to the games I did play, starting with Honourable Mentions. The games that did not make it into my top 10, but 100% deserve the shoutout for their effort. Palworld is a game that the world at large decided to lovingly name Pokemon with guns. It's an open-world survival game where you collect creatures, build, craft, the whole thing. And this is probably why it didn't make it into the list. So much of this game just feels like a generic survival game. It's probably much better in co-op, as everything is, but sadly I didn't have a chance to play this with friends yet. Still a good game though. Were Cleaners is a completely free, neat little stealth game that looks absolutely adorable. It takes like an hour to get through it. I highly recommend it. Another game worth mentioning is of course Brazilian Drug Dealer 3. I opened a portal to hell in the favela trying to revive Meat Aya, and I need to close it. I mean, this one speaks for itself with its quality. Cryptmaster is an extremely unique game. Nearly all of its mechanics center around you typing words out on your keyboard, even in combat. The art style is this beautiful black and white cel-shaded look that I just adore. The writing is excellent. This is just one funny goddamn game, but it falls apart before the finish line. All the unique leveling and combat mechanics just start getting more and more tedious as you play, and when the credits rolled, I was kinda glad it was over. Still, hell of a unique ride that I would recommend to anyone. Mouthwashing, an indie horror that took the fuck off. And boy, Palworld not making it into the top 10, people might understand, but I'm worried I might get crucified for mouthwashing being only a honorable mention. The game is absolutely rich in atmosphere, and it tells a pretty simple but powerful sci-fi story that ultimately is, sadly, pretty relatable to our modern everyday life. It has just unbeatable art direction, strongest of which I can't show, because spoilers. And it didn't make the cut because it's barely a video game. It's extremely short, has zero replay value, and all the gameplay is just walking. There aren't even any real puzzles in there, which always rubs me the wrong way. Still a solid experience with an amazing story. You wouldn't find shit this daring in the cinema, so I'm glad video games became a beacon of expression like this. Another Crab's Treasure got edged out of the top 10 like 3 days before I finalized this list, and it had a pretty good claim to it because it's a great game. I do have a full separate review of Another Crab's Treasure. It should flash in the top right corner of your screen as a card right now, so if you want details, go there. Backpack Battles is an online PvP only indie title which is quite unique. The whole idea is that you buy diverse crazy items and weapons in the shop between each round, manage them in your inventory, and then watch an auto battle play out with a random opponent. It's quite fun and addicting. There are so many builds on top of builds on top of builds you can make, but after all is said and done, the game is rather simple and it did get boring pretty fast for me personally. Also, I just kinda hate everything about its art style. And with that out of the way, let's get into the top 10 indie games of 2024.
This is the part where I kill you.
I did not realize just how much I missed the Portal franchise until I played Portal Revolution a couple of weeks ago. This is a free total conversion story mode for Portal 2 that takes 5 to 6 hours to beat. If you have played Portal 2 and enjoyed your time with it, you owe it to yourself to play this. It's fucking incredible just how far the modding scene has came from the olden days. This has full voice acting, actual script with funny dialogue, new mechanics that fit perfectly into the world of Portal, and oh my god, the graphics and the art direction. You would expect the classic Portal look and assets, but the devs went above and beyond to form a unique identity for Revolution, and they nailed it. The overgrown facilities and test chambers that are partially on the outside are such a breath of fresh air. I don't even know why I'm still talking. Portal 2 goes for like $2 on sales, and most of you probably have it in their Steam library anyway. Just go play this mod.
As a consequence of semi-recent events, some aerial faith plates could be misconfigured and launch objects into arbitrary directions. Be careful. Well, that's definitely wrong. Give me a second.
Yeah, I'd like to solve the puzzle.
This motherfucking game right here is one of the biggest surprises I have experienced this year. I went in not even sure what the game is and walked away with an awesome experience. Lorelei and the Laser Eyes is an incredibly stylish puzzle game, and even just that fact makes it noteworthy. Pure puzzle games are a dying breed, and Lorelei is living proof that this genre has still much to give. Since this is probably going to be the least widely known game on this list, let me give you a bit of an idea what you do in the game. You walk around a mansion solving puzzles while trying to piece together what's the deal with your lovely protagonist and this mysterious man harassing you with bad puns and completely unhinged metaphors. And when I say solve puzzles, I mean solve puzzles. This game openly recommends you grab a pen and a notebook to take notes, and that's just fucking amazing. When was the last time a video game recommended you do something like that? The advice is sound too, because noting down certain environmental tips helped me open doors, solve puzzles, and proceed through the game. And it's as simple as that really. I loved the story and the art direction, but it's the puzzle gameplay that kept me hooked. I just wanted to know. I needed to know what's behind every door in this mansion. This game honestly had a shot at a much higher spot on this list, but there were a few, and I mean only a handful, of moon logic puzzles. But what's way more pressing is that the last quarter of the game has a lot of running and backtracking through two particular mazes, and it was very tedious. Not a deal breaker, but but it keeps Lorelei and the laser eyes firmly at the 9th spot on this list.
And then, of course, you have Super Mario Brothers 2, Super Mario Brothers 2, Game of the Year, Super Mario Brothers 2.
Animal Well really is an amazing experience, a living, breathing art piece that sucked me in. I beaten this game in 6 hours the very same day I bought it. The way everything in this game looks feels like I found a fucking oasis in the desert of visually uninteresting. It is so refreshing. As far as the gameplay goes, Animal Well is a Metroidvania puzzle game, and how it works is there is no combat. Every encounter with anything hostile is you trying to outsmart it. There are no tutorials in the game. It hands you the pieces and goes, let's see you take a crack at it, big boy. It's not go fuck yourself level of hard. You will probably not require a guide or anything, but you will need to backtrack a lot if you don't immediately remember all the places you can use new powers in, which is frustrating. I know it's an iconic part of the Metroidvania genre, but it still sucks to have 20 rooms to check on the opposite sides of the map if you forgot what exactly do they contain. Still, this is an amazing little indie game made with love and passion, like the video game devs of old used to make. Felvidek. What the fuck do I even say about Felvidek? Let's start by saying this. What is going on this year with indies and their graphics? You just saw Lorelei and the laser eyes, which has this incredible black and white look, Animal Well with its divine pixel art, and now the third game that has an amazing, completely different art style from almost anything else on the market. How do you even describe this shit? It's like a medieval painting, some artistic rendition of a historic event you would see adorning an old tome in the library of some monastery. All this is constantly accompanied with funky guitar-heavy soundtrack that creates a dizzying dissonance, and that feeling of confusion will become very familiar as you go on. Felvidek feels like its devs from Slovakia consumed as much acid as their bodies could handle and created this in a single moonless night in a state of higher consciousness. The game constantly bounces from meditations on the senseless violence human beings inflict on each other because of religion, culture, history, and then the next scene is some of the funniest shit you have ever seen, where you give a prostitute a painting so she can impress a priest she fancies, which results in the priest immediately falling in love, quitting his job, and giving you some jam as a reward. The jam is an incredibly powerful consumable that permanently increases your strength, by the way. Unhinged game. Loved every second of it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, accident. Why are you drinking?
I dreaded the literal second I will have to do this. I played 1000X Resist. I liked it enough to put it on my top 10 indie games of 2024, and now I have to talk about it. Except, what do you even say? 1000X Resist is a literal walking simulator. There's no gameplay of any kind other than just walking from point A to point B and listening to dialogue. It's essentially a 10-hour-long cutscene. There is barely any puzzles, and the ones that are there are laughably easy. This on paper sounds like I would fucking hate this game. Mouthwashing is exactly this, and it didn't make it into the top 10 precisely because of that. But 1000X Resist is just built differently, I suppose, and it got here because the story it tells is absolutely fucking phenomenal on all fronts. It's a very unique sci-fi story, which on its own is an achievement, I think, but then it goes on on to explore topics like generational trauma, and a huge part of the story is based on some characters having to live through the 2019 Hong Kong protests, and it keeps hitting you upside the fucking head with some of the best dialogue I had the pleasure to see in a video game. And after just a couple of hours, way before you hit that Steam refund timer, you will know you are in for something special. Though I do not like the game's art style, to be honest. It just looks generic, bland, bad even. But what's god tier is the framing and direction of each scene. It kinda feels like a movie director made a video game, if that makes any kind of sense. All the words I know in the English language will fail to describe feelings this piece of media made me feel, and I have looked at other reviews and it seems to be a common problem. The game just leaves you speechless. This is the biggest trust me bro of them all. If this shit doesn't grab you, Steam refund is there for a reason. That's it, I'm moving on. I really don't know what to say.
Get to the chopper! I'm here! Kill me! Come on, kill me! I'm here! Come on! Do it now! Kill me! You one ugly motherfucker.
Mullet Madjack is a first-person shooter roguelite game by Hammer 95 Studios, a Brazilian three-person team that delivered a banger. It is incredibly stylish, engaging, and it gets your blood pumping. Even though the story mode is incredibly short, this is the kind of mindless fun that I turn to video games for in the first place. This is a game that just oozes fun. I also have a fully fledged review of this one, available right now if you follow the card in the upper right corner of the screen. The TLDR version is you have 10 seconds to live and each kill adds some seconds to this timer. So you are trying to fly through levers, scoring precision kills, but also you need to realize when it's time to go a bit slower, because getting hit also drains the timer. The gameplay is incredibly fluid, intuitive and fun. Rushing through each room like the madman that you clearly are, leaving behind a trail of gore, limbs and shattered glass just feels like an awesome power fantasy. Besides the gameplay, the aesthetics of Mullet Madjack are obviously what sets it apart from the rest. The game does an astounding job of emulating the anime aesthetics of the 90s, which tickles my nostalgia funny bone, so I can't help but love that direction. Buckshot Roulette is a $3 game. You can beat its story mode in 15 minutes and it takes around 3 hours to get all the achievements and see all content possible. I technically could refund this game right now and get my money back after beating it. I will not do that because holy hell does the developer deserve every single fucking cent. What a masterclass in focusing in on the meat of your experience. Literally zero bloat. You could easily say this is a complete inversion of what AAA gaming has become. It doesn't want to waste your time, it doesn't extort the fucking exuberant prices new games get up to. It's a brave breath of fresh air. It's moody and it's fucking stylish. What more could you possibly want from a video game? This actually came out last year on itch.io, but it released on Steam this year with expanded gameplay, so I don't care. Play Buckshot Roulette. Play Buckshot Roulette right now. Crow Country is an entry into the ancient survival horror genre of video games, and like many survival horror games before, it marries great story and amazing gameplay to deliver you a cool-ass experience. You are Mara Forest, you explore an abandoned crow-themed amusement park, and shoot the creepy fucking zombies, man! Truly, we came back to the cradle, to how games used to be. Simple. Except it's not really that simple. There are blocked pathways, puzzles, shortcuts, and the intrigue keeps growing with each wacky character you come across. The game uses tank controls, which I have strong negative feelings about, but it introduces something that completely overshadows any other mechanic, and that is laser-based precision aiming. I literally cannot believe it. The devs found a way to make a shooter feel fresh and new. I could just go on and on. I mean, look at that art style, man. Listen to the soundtrack. This is video games, and they be video gaming. It's amazing. Simply and truly amazing.
Let's go gambling! Aw, dang it! Aw, dang it! Aw, dang it! Aw, dang it! Aw, dang it!
Balatro is another game I previously covered on the channel. If you want to see my full review of it, click the pop-up in the top right corner of the screen. As for the abridged version, Balatro is one of the best and most addictive roguelikes I have ever played. It's a pure blast of gameplay that takes me back to the arcadey games of old. It's an indie roguelike game where you are trying to make poker hands, like full house or two pairs or whatever, to beat the score requirement for each stage. The bulk of the gameplay comes from jokers, which are like passive power-ups with tons of different effects that enhance certain playstyles. You might get a joker that grants you more and more points for each two pair you play, or a joker that allows you to get straights and flushes with only 4 cards instead of the usual 5. That's about it. All of the fun comes from coming up with ideas to absolutely break the game with the tools you are given, so pretty much like any other roguelike, except this one is playing cards. I like playing cards. It's a $14 single developer passion project that will give you plenty and plenty and plenty hours of fun. I honestly don't even know what more I can say. Shit's just fun, and it easily bodies a lot of AAA games of this year in terms of creativity, fun, gameplay, you name it. Words cannot even begin to describe the joy of playing UFO 50. It's that feeling of slotting a random cartridge you just bought or borrowed or was given into ye olden console. It's that feeling of browsing flash game websites looking for a game you're gonna tuck your buddy's ears off at school. It's all of those feelings made into one concentrated burst of indie video game perfection. And if you never experienced what I'm talking about, now you can if you just buy this. Hopping from game to game, staying for longer if something truly grabbed you, leaving if it's not your type, repeatedly coming back to this one game you really like. This game that weighs half a gigabyte made me feel things I forgot video games can make you feel. But enough gushing. What is UFO 50? It's a bundle of 50 games stylized for that NES look that all have only directional inputs and 2 other buttons you can use, clearly emulating one of those 100-in-1 NES cartridges that always had just fucking garbage on them. But this is that cartridge from an alternate reality where every single game on there is just peak after peak. It's unbelievable how much content the devs packed into this goddamn thing. At the time of the review, I played all of the games and beaten only a few, and I'm up to 25 hours of quality playtime. I have seen a bunch of Steam reviews that gotten past 100 hours mark. All this for 20 fucking bucks. Also very important thing, a bunch of the games on this are available for 2 players. In the current era of gaming where less and less games can be played together in a meaningful way on the same couch, this was a very pleasant surprise for me and my girlfriend, and the devs contributed to a lot of very pleasant evenings that I would love to personally thank them for. This game is something truly special. I will not let anyone convince me it's not. And this is it for my top 10 indie games of 2024. If everything goes smoothly and I do not burn out on the idea, another top 10 games of 2024 list should be coming in a couple of weeks. This time containing AAA's sloppity slop, so stay tuned for some less obscure games. Thank you for watching, and as always, see you in the next one.